Well, this chapter, for the most part, was comedy. Just a lot of comedy, as we saw Usopp facing off against Ghost Princess Perona, and of course Sanji and Absalom.
One Piece, chapter 464, Sanji's dream.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and registered sex offenders of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and eccentric and a little bit perverted, but always very funny, down-to-earth, and heartwarming tale that is One Piece. Our last chapter really saw us, of course, taking place in the tale of two halves, really the latter half being Sanji just wiping the floor with Absalom, things leaving off looking like he had just beaten this guy to a pulp, and that's right where things pick up. And this, again, is another tale of two halves type of chapter. It's nice, though, because the last half of the last chapter segues into and becomes the first half of this chapter. And we wind up seeing, of course, Sanji and Absalom, and what I thought was the aftermath of him whipping Absalom's ass. Now we find out that Absalom has actually been grafted through several different surgeries and things like that with various body parts and skin and things like that of all these different creatures of the wild. Dr. Hogback really Frankensteined his ass up, and he's now 600 pounds and claims to be unstoppable. We wind up seeing, too, and having him kind of still give the inner monologue as Sanji is just, kicking him around, and he's thinking, man, a normal person would break their foot when they tried to kick me. This guy is doing it like it's nothing. He's extra special. He's some kind of special, right? Well, anyway, the chapter winds up progressing and starting off with we'd left off the last chapter with Sanji basically saying he had a grudge against him for some reason. We're like, what are you talking about? So even Absalom's like, I've never met you. What are you talking about? And I'm thinking maybe this has something to do. Maybe there's some complex way that Oda weaved this together, right? He weaves the tapestry, and I just need to see how it's woven. And I'm thinking, oh, it may be because Sanji's soul, his shadow, is inside the penguin thing, and maybe that thing had some sort of interaction with Absalom. No. It's none of that shit. Now get that out of your head. The reason that he has a grudge against Absalom is because Sanji is an old school, he's an OG, he's an original gangster, dirty ass, motherfucking pervert. That's what he is. That's what he is. That's the bottom line. He read a book when he was a child, growing up, right? He read a book on devil fruits, and he wound up reading about apparently the clear fruit, which he knows is what Absalom has, where he's able to make himself invisible, and of course he's pissed off because he, tried to licked Robin, and he touched Nami and tried to sexually assault her in the shower. But in a way, Sanji's no better, right? He winds up proving it, and they do it in a funny way, but Sanji goes and he wanted that power to become invisible, and then he's like, so I could peep in on girls. So I could save the world and cure cancer, and then he goes and he says something again, and it's basically, so I could peep in on girls in the bath. Oh, and actually do good things. And even one of the zombies is like, what? It's not like, this guy's a dirty pervert. And that's eventually going to wind up wrapping around towards the end here to the chapter question, but first things first. So they go back and forth a little bit with this banter, and Sanji's basically like, once somebody is eating a devil fruit, there's no two exactly the same in the world, so I knew that if I ever met that person that had the powers of that devil fruit, that they would have crushed my dream. So basically what he's saying is that you inadvertently crushed my dream of being like a pervert, of being able to be invisible and go and look at women changing and being naked and everything else, right? And I'm thinking, okay, all right, is it better to... Well, anyway, I won't even get into that. So, he doesn't care, though, anything about what's going on. Absalom talks about how he's not going to be able to beat him and talks his shit. And Sanji just starts whipping his ass all over the place again. And that is how their portion of the chapter ends off, with Sanji just going and throwing these kicks that really, to a normal human, should be breaking his feet or shattering his feet or whatever. And he's kicking them like it's nothing, man. So, we know Sanji's a badass, right? The second half of the chapter, as we left him off a few chapters ago, Mr. Negativity and Pessimism, Pessimism himself, Usopp, right? And Usopp goes and he was so negative that the ghosts, the ghost hollows, that Ghost Princess Perona tried to sick on him. Instead of making him negative, he in turn made them even more negative because he's so negative, right? It had the reverse effect. And then that in turn made Perona start, because she controls them, negative, right? So anyway, as you see this kind of pick up, we presume a few minutes later, she's running, right? And she's like, oh my God, he's going to chasing me. If I could just this, if I could that. And then you go and you see Usopp, right? And Usopp is saying the basic same shit that she's saying, except for she's like, man, if this weird bear thing would stop chasing me. And it's Kumasi, the big sort of like, he looks like a pill, like a big hopping sort of pill, the stuffed animal thing, is chasing him, right? So we've got this train of stupid going after one another, you know, a train of negativity, I guess you would say. And Perona's telling Kumasi, get him, and blah blah. And Kumasi's, and he's like, man, he's fast for a stuffed animal. Eventually, things wind up for him being okay for at least the time being. He winds up going and using a fire star, which slows him down. He knows obviously that most of the zombies are certainly weak, susceptible to fire, flame. And then he goes and he pours some oil out as well and creates like pretty much like a wall of fire between him and Kumasi, so Kumasi can no longer chase him. He then turns and looks to find out where's Perona. He's like, what the hell? What happened? Right? And he's looking around. Finally, he goes and he winds up seeing her. He thinks she went out this window because he hears her. She's actually out there floating in midair, just standing on the air, because that's what you can do when you're a ghost princess. And that's what she proceeds to tell him. He's like, what is your power? You know, he figured that she just had the power of the negative hollows, the hollow fruit, or whatever, the negative fruit, you know? So, anyways, so she goes and she's floating out there, tells him that, and the chapter winds up ending off that way, with basically like, you know what, I figured out how to beat you, and I'm going to take your ass out now. Because she's claiming as she's running from him that, you know, she's like, I don't know, because her one-trick pony, her hollow ghost, didn't seem to work. Didn't seem to actually work on him. You know, she has to come up with a different plan, a different method of attack, but she claims she can easily defeat any of the other Straw Hats, right? Just a matter of time. Just give me a chance to do that, and I can do it. So, anyway, that's where the chapter ends off over here, though, and my chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is why is it okay, and just give me your opinion on this one. I know what my thought is, and I'll tell you. Why is it okay that Sanji is a complete, like, pretty much low-down, dirty pervert, right? And he just flat out came out and admitted it. Like, he wanted the power of the clear fruit. That was his dream, so he could be an invisible peeping Tom, right? Something a little bit wrong up in that swirly-headed eyebrow of his, but brain, whatever. But why is it okay that he does it? Because he's one of the Straw Hats, right? But when Absalom started licking up girls and all this other stuff, we were all kind of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, don't get me wrong. He crossed the line with the near rape, borderline rape in the, you know, in the shower and everything else. And that was just kind of a departure from what is normally, in a lot of ways, a very light tale. In terms of sexual type of stuff, there's not a whole lot that goes on. So that's why that one was a surprise for me. But again, the chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is why is it okay that our own Sanji, one of our monster trio, swirly eyebrow fucker, is okay that he's a well-known pervert and probably should be on the sex offender list, but with somebody like Absalom, not cool at all. So, and again, just this is what your opinion is. So let me know what your answer to that question is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit thumbs up, to hit the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Thanks for watching. Remember to check out my other channels and follow me on Facebook and Twitter too.